O, not K. I'm okay, you're okay, we're all okay. So maybe I can just cut it in here. Tim, cut. P lives on the 3rd floor. Nope. Okay. What did we do wrong? The LSAT giveth and the LSAT taketh away. Hey, great job on the last game. Welcome. Good afternoon. We just crushed it on that tree branch diagram game. First game from the October 1991 PrepTest 2. That was the last video if you didn't get to check it out. So it's interesting. We normally say, I normally say that these LSAT logic games are kind of like Sudoku puzzles where they don't give you enough information. You don't have enough givens to actually solve the puzzle. But the first game in this section was very much not like that. We did have enough information to very nearly solve the entire scenario. There was really only one choice we were making the whole time on that first game. Of course, that would not normally be the case. Normally, we're going to get enough information to figure out some things, but not so much information that we can figure out basically the whole scenario. So yeah, I mean, let's just keep barreling right along. All right, I am looking at, as should you be, the second game from the October 1991 PrepTest, that is PrepTest 2, and this is in the 3rd section overall, second game from the 3rd section. An apartment building has 5 floors. Each floor has either 1 or 2 apartments. There are exactly 8 apartments in the building. The residents of the building are J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and Q, who each live in a different apartment. Let's see, what can we do here? I'll tell you what, as we look at this is kind of interesting. I mean, I think the best setup is definitely going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because it's floors, you might even want to set this up vertically. It's not a huge difference, but we normally want things, whatever representation makes most sense in reality, to be what we use on the page. Now, just in terms of logistics, it's probably easier to keep going left to right rather than to switch this to where we're doing some kind of up and down diagram. But it is something you might at least consider. I'm going to try and do it left to right anyway.
Cats and dogs, cats and dogs and cats and...
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 floors. And we've got 8 different apartments. Every floor has 1 or 2 apartments. But then it's not even like, it would be one thing if the apartments themselves had certain names, but they don't. It's just that residents live on a certain floor in some apartment depending on, is that a floor with 1 or 2 apartments in it? For example, you can see the first clue there. Jay has to live on a floor with 2 apartments. Definitely not just a classic order game, more like a grouping game, and a grouping game where we actually don't know the sizes of the groups. So definitely a little bit tricky here. Let's get our elements down. We've got J, K, L, M, N, O, P, and Q. 8 people who live in some of these 8 apartments. So in that sense, there's at least one thing in this game with a 1-to-1 ratio. Should not be terribly difficult. We'll see. Let's jump into the clues. Jay lives on a floor with 2 apartments. What's the best way to do this? I guess you could put something like, okay, so Jay is going to have to be blocked with someone, right? He's going to have to be next to someone. Or we could even say something like Jay cannot be on a floor with just 1 apartment. So that's a possibility as well. K lives on the floor directly above P. See, this is what makes me think it is going to be better if we actually set this up. I am going to go ahead and set this up differently. Even though it might be a little more logistically difficult just on the page, I think it's going to make more sense if we actually have this going up and down. So I'm going to set up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going up and down like that. And now I can say things like, all right, so K has to be above P. And so wherever P is, K is going to have to be above P. So there's a second axis on which we're thinking about this. And actually I like that because now left to right means you're on the same floor, up and down means you're on different floors. So I think this is a good decision. We've taken care of this clue. J lives on a floor with 2 apartments. K lives on the floor directly above P. Did I get that backwards? No, I got it. Okay, K lives above P. The second floor is made up of only 1 apartment. I love it. Very good. So we definitely have just the 1 blank on floor 2. M and N live on the same floor. That's going to be key. So M and N live on the same floor for sure. O does not live on the same floor as Q. O and Q do not live on the same floor as each other. L lives in the only apartment on her floor. Okay, so L has to be, unlike J, L has to be by herself on some given floor. Q does not live on the first or second floor. Best kind of clue. We just put that right on the diagram, right? Q is not first or second. Okay, unlike the first game from this section where, I mean, I guess you could say there were a lot of deductions, but really what ended up happening is there just weren't that many possibilities for the game. This game is kind of different in that we're going to have quite a few deductions here, but we're definitely not going to be able to figure out this scenario entirely. So this is more like your classic LSAT game than that first one was where we figured out almost everything. That is not a typical scenario. In this case, though, we do have some good deductions. What are some things we can say? We know M and N cannot be on floor 2 because floor 2 definitely only has one person and M and N are together, so that's no good. We can say things like there's no way P is on floor 5 because then K couldn't be above P. And in the same way, there's no way K could be on floor 1. What else can we say? J also cannot go on floor 2. J's not a person who can be by him or herself. We know about Q. That really only leaves 4 elements who could go second, so I just always want to be aware of that. I'm not going to write that down. 4 elements is a bit much for a deduction, but it is worth noting. In fact, I just want to make sure I remember this is all about floor 2. Okay, I think that might be it. Let's go ahead and jump into the questions. The first question is simply a general question, not this kind of question, complete and accurate list, where we can just go through the rules one by one and eliminate answer choices. So I'm going to skip 6, I'm going to skip 7, but I am going to get into number 8 right now. If J lives on the 4th floor, and we know J is with someone, and K is on the 5th floor, which one of the following can be true? Well, again, P has to be on the floor below K, and so there's P. We know exactly one person is on floor 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that means we have to have 2 people each in the remaining floors. And then there's one person, obviously, who always has to be by themselves. That's L. So L's going to have to be on the 2nd floor. O and Q can't be together, but M and M have to be. Well, Q. That's why. So Q has to be on the 3rd floor. We said Q can't be 1st or 2nd, right? And so then M and N have to be here. Yeah, that leads us to a contradiction. O would have to go with Q, but that's not supposed to be possible. Okay, we must have messed up some deduction along the way. Unfortunate. All right, well, let's go back through the clues real quick. Let's make sure we understand. Apartment building has 5 floors. Each floor has either 1 or 2 apartments. There are exactly 8 apartments. K lives on the floor directly above P. I'll tell you what, I am very confused. I don't know. I don't feel like we symbolized anything incorrectly. The 2nd floor only has 1 apartment. Yep. M and N live on the same floor. Yep. O does not live on the same floor as Q. Yep. L lives in the only apartment on her floor. Yep. Oh, wait. Okay. I think I've got it. Back over here. When it says K lives on the 5th floor, that does not mean K is the only one to live on the 5th floor. Okay. So K is definitely above P. And so 4th floor is done. It's got to be JP. But then from there, M and N are either 3rd or 1st floor. And of course, Q can't be 1st or 2nd. But I could put Q with K on floor 5. So I think that's the mistake I was making. I was assuming in some sense that K had to be alone on floor 5. That was my mistake. Instead, I'm going to set up 2 scenarios right now. One, I'm going to put M and N 3rd, and the other one I'm going to put M and N 1st, because that's the only way the rest of the game can work out. So you can tell I'm blocking off every time we have a certain floor done. And now what can we say? Well, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 3 people left without having placed K. So like L could be by herself on floor 1, which would place O in floor 2, and then Q could be up here on floor 5. That's a possibility. Of course, L could be by herself in 2. And then you could even have a scenario where like O is actually with K on floor 5 and Q is down on floor 3. So at this point, there are actually several possibilities. So I'm feeling better about what's going on here. I do want to leave those blank, though, because I'm seeing there are just a lot of things that we can do. So I'm just going to go to the questions. O lives on the first floor. I mean, I'm pretty sure we could do that, right? We could do O here, L there, and Q up there. So normally we want to just find an answer and be done. Because this question has given us such trouble, I'm going to keep A, but I am going to go ahead and check the others real quick. Q lives on the 4th floor, so that's definitely impossible. N lives on the 5th floor. Nope, only 1 or 3. L lives on the 4th floor. Nope, nobody else can live on the 4th floor other than JP. And it has to be P. P cannot live on the 3rd floor. So I'm going to go ahead and cross off E. Okay, so it is in fact A. A little bit of a tough process there, but we did get there in the end. Let's move on to the next specific question. If O lives on the 2nd floor, which one of the following cannot be true? Okay, so if O is on the 2nd floor, and we know that's a person by themselves, and we know, of course, we don't know much more of anything. There's going to be somewhere that L is by herself, and so the other 3 apartments are going to have 2 each. So L will be by herself somewhere, and all the other apartments, they'll have to be paired up somehow. I feel like that's not nearly enough, though. Q can't be 1 or 2, so do we want to try out all 3? With Q on 5, Q on 4, Q on 3. What we want to look for now is something that would give us like 2 scenarios to try out. Or 3 is okay, but it would be better if we could find just 2. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. I think I'm going to go ahead and try Q in each of these other floors. Q there, Q there, Q there. But again, there are just so many possibilities. I don't think this is going to be any more productive than just trying out the answer choices one at a time. So I may just go ahead and try out the answer choices instead. K lives on the 4th floor. Well, if I put K there, K has to be above P, so P would have to be 3rd. J has to go with someone, and L has to be by herself, but I don't have any deductions about it, so can I put L there? Q would go with P in this scenario. J could go with K in this scenario. And M and N would go on floor 1. It doesn't look to me like it breaks any rules. I think that's it. It's always a little suspicious when we're trying out answer choices and it works out to A, so I am concerned. And in fact, even just looking at B, why couldn't I just move all of these up? K, J, P, Q, and have L there. Does that break any rules? J is with someone still. Oh, goodness. What cannot be true? So, of course, both of these are working because that's not what we want. We want what cannot be true. So both A and B are, in fact, possible. We need to get rid of them. Could L be on the 1st floor? I mean, it seems to me like we could easily make this M and N instead, and L would be down here in that case, so that definitely seems possible. We've already seen L on the 3rd floor, but apparently we're going to have an issue if we try to put L on the 4th floor. Of course, L has to be by herself, and I can tell now what the problem is. K won't have any room to be above P, right? There's nowhere to get them on 2 consecutive floors if L is by herself on floor 4. So there we go. Number 9 is E. Oh my goodness, we've only answered 2 questions. So definitely by now, I know that this is among the harder games in the section. And maybe I should move on to a different game. If this is the second one I'm doing, I did not choose the second easiest. Now, fortunately, presumably we'd be a little ahead on time after that first game in this section, but this is concerning. This is taking quite a while. All right, maybe it gets better from here. Number 10. If M lives on the 4th floor, which of the following must be false? M is on the 4th floor, which obviously means has to be with N. And we've got our single blank down on floor 2. Got to take care of the KP thing here, and we can't put any of K or P in those 3 slots around MN right now. And so I think it's either going to be K, P like that, or K, P down there. Either way, of course, floor 2 has to be alone. L is supposed to be by herself somewhere, and I can't have a 3rd apartment or a 3rd floor with just 1 apartment. That's not going to leave enough room. So K can't be by herself anymore, and L is going to go up here or down here by herself. In the other scenario, again, L's going to have to be by herself somewhere, but I think it could be any of 3, 4, 5. I'm not seeing anything in particular. Well, not 4, sorry. Yeah, but I think it's the same kind of situation. L's going to be by herself in some of those different slots. Which of the following must be false? O lives on the 5th floor. Is that possible? Seems to me like it could have been O. Couldn't L have been down here? And then maybe, so K would have to go with Q, and O would have to go with J, but that definitely seems okay. So I'm going to cross off A. J lives on the 1st floor. Couldn't J be with P down here? And then, oh, that's a problem. What about, okay, so let's go back. That might be the one. We have to keep O and Q separate, right? M, N. Which of the following must be false? Again, we've already seen that O could be 5th. J is 1st, though. If I put J on the 1st floor, I'm going to try and pair them with O, because I can't pair them with Q because Q can't go on the 1st floor, and I need to keep O separate from Q. But then Q I could put here with K, and L in that case would go on top. That seems okay to me. Yeah, I'm not seeing any issue there, so actually that seems possible. L is on the 2nd floor. That's the one. No, that's impossible. It has to be either P or K on that 2nd floor. So actually that was a little easier than I expected. Number 12, we're really pushing it, running out of room here. And again, that's the issue with the kind of the way we drew the diagram, but that's just the way it goes. We've got, if O lives on the 4th floor and P lives on the 2nd floor, which one of the following must be true? Well, K would have to be on floor 3. K is going to have to go with someone. O is going to have to go with someone, and the question is just where does L end up by herself? Because again, we can only have 2 apartments with someone by themselves. So if P is on floor 2, then L, wherever she goes, is going to be by herself on that floor. Beyond that, though, it seems like there are several possibilities. L lives on the 1st floor. Doesn't seem like it must be true. M lives on the 3rd floor. Q lives on the 3rd floor. N lives on the 5th floor. Q lives on the 5th floor. Okay, so we need to figure more out. What else can we figure out? J has to be with someone. Could be K, could be O, could be Q. Oh, well, Q can't be with O. So now it seems like, I feel like we must be missing some deductions in this game. This is just rough every time. Where are we going to put MN? MN is going to flip with L. All right, that's nice. Because, of course, MN can't go here, can't go here, can't go here. There's not enough room. And so now that means Q has to go 3rd, and the only person left, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q. Who am I missing? Oh, it's J. Okay, so we were able to figure a little bit more out here once we thought about the MN clue. What must be true? L is on the 1st floor? No, because L and MN flip between 1 and 5. M is on the 3rd floor? That's actually impossible. Q is on the 3rd floor? Yes, there it is. That is the must be true. All right, general questions left. Man, I wish that previous game had been the one that they had 7 questions about rather than this one. But you can see the LSAT giveth and the LSAT taketh away. Which one of the following must be true just always? Q lives on the 3rd floor? No, we saw Q in other scenarios, right? There was this scenario here where KJ went over PQ. That was a possibility. Looks like Q was up here on floor 5, so no, that's not a must be true. Q lives on the 5th floor. It's possible, but not a must be. L does not live on the 4th floor? No, I even saw that as a possibility once, so I don't think so. N does not live on the 2nd floor? Yeah, that is a must be. That was actually one of our deductions, right? N cannot be on the 2nd floor. Very good. So which one of the following cannot be true? K lives on the 2nd floor. Have we ever seen it? Yes. Saw it on number 10, so it's not a must be false. M lives on the 1st floor. Definitely possible. We've seen that several times. N lives on the 4th floor. I've seen that before. That happened over here on number 10. O lives on the 3rd floor. I've never seen it. Don't know why it should be impossible, but it's never come up. P lives on the 5th floor. That's also never come up. Oh, wait, that's a deduction, though. Yeah, P cannot be on the 5th floor, so it's got to be E there. Okay, goodness. So close to being done. Which one of the following must be true? Ugh, and they're phrased as conditionals. Not going to be fun. If J is on the 4th floor, I'm going to come over here and jot this down so I have some space where I can try these out if need be. If P is on the 4th floor, we know K goes on the 5th floor. What else can we say? Then M does not live on the 3rd floor? Well, no, actually we saw that on number 8, right? P was on the 5th floor, M was on the 3rd floor, so it's not that one. If J is on the 4th floor, Q does not live on the 5th floor? No, we saw that here. That was a possibility, that Q was on the 5th floor. If O lives on the 2nd floor, okay, we've had that a few times. L does not live on the 4th floor? No, that looked possible. So it can't be that. If N lives on the 4th floor, then K does not live on the 2nd floor. Now that's interesting, because we did have N on the 4th floor here, and then K was not. So let's think about this. If we put N on the 4th floor, obviously it goes with M. We don't have room for KP up here. It has to be either K over P or K over P. So if N lives on the 4th floor, okay, so I want to talk about this scenario here. If N is on the 4th floor, can I get K alone on that floor? So I've got M, N, K, P. Q and J have to go somewhere, as does O and L. Can I put L by herself there? Q and J up here and O down here? That seems possible to me. Yeah, okay, so the process of elimination would make me think D, but again, this game, I just want to quickly test it out. If K is on the 3rd floor, P would have to be on the 2nd floor by himself. O does not live on the 5th floor. Why would that happen? Why couldn't I put O up there? M, N has to go somewhere. Q has to go somewhere. Well, what would be wrong if we put O up there? Just can't be with Q, but couldn't we put Q and J together there? Oh my gosh. It's B, isn't it? Why did I think it could be B? This is, okay. You gotta be careful, people. You gotta be careful what you symbolize. So this scenario where I said, oh, we've seen B before, this was a scenario that didn't actually work. Because if I put O on the 2nd floor, and then I try to put L on the 4th floor, the whole problem there was that there was no room for K and P to space out properly. So 11 is actually B. Oh gosh, okay. C, E, A, E, D, and C. D, E, A, E, C, B, C. D, E, A, E, C, B, C. Gosh, well, at least we got them right, but my goodness did that take us a while. It just goes to show you, if you end up with that super easy game first, don't draw any conclusions about the section. Now, this should not be the second game you do. I haven't seen the other two games, but I cannot imagine that this is the second easiest game of this section. How might we have known this was a game that we would want to skip and do 3rd or 4th? It's a grouping game, which is usually a little bit harder than an order game, though not always. If game 3 or game 4 is an order game, I might try that one first instead. But not only is it a grouping game, it's a grouping game where I don't know the sizes of the groups. I don't know 2 people go on floor 1, 2 people go on floor 4, whatever it might be. There was only one floor I knew about for sure. And although we had a decent number of deductions at the beginning, I wouldn't call it overwhelming. You know, there are 8 elements, so even something like floor 2, where we knew 4 different people who weren't going to go there, that still left 4 different people who were. No question at the beginning where we can just kind of do process of elimination based on the rules, but 7 overall questions. It's nice that 4 of them were specific, but again, that means there were 3 general questions here. So there are some signs that this was going to be a difficult game, but even then, it ended up being a little bit more difficult. But again, in the end, we got the questions right. That's the most important part. I hope that was helpful to you. Feel free to comment, you know, what did you see that I didn't see? Did you see some deductions that would have made this easier? I would love to know it. And otherwise, yeah, I'll see you in the next one.